I wanted to bring this up because I had a pretty exciting exchange or conversation with a friend of a friend the other day. And I touched on this in other videos, this sentiment that in a lot of places that I've worked at in the past, it seems to be the art department versus sales guys. To be more specific, what I'm saying is a lot of art guys, a lot of designers, I think by nature and by trade, don't get along that well with sales guys sometimes. A lot of times the heads of those two departments, or just kind of the outlook by default of a person in that department, in each department, pretty much do not think the same way. And maybe categorically and logically that makes sense. Trying to find the coolest thing to design, which makes sense. You know, that's what they get paid to do, and they always want to push the envelope, and they're on the next trend way earlier than the masses. I mean, that's what makes them a good designer. And then what makes you a good sales guy is you could just move product, you have the gift of gab, but whether it's black, white, or pink, you just want to move units of the product. So obviously your nature is to stay with safer colorways, stay with things that sell. Because at the end of the day, there's no creative context for a sales guy. It's what does the customer, the retailer, the buyer, and the consumer, what do they want? So in a way it all meets together though, because you know, you're all on one team for one clothing line. This is why I'm a huge fan of Grant Cardone. If you don't know who that is, Google Grant Cardone or YouTube him. He YouTubes, so he has a channel. But basically, he's a sales guru, and his philosophy is any company can get fixed if it has sales. And he's great. Whatever you would think an amazing sales guy would be, that's what Grant Cardone represents, so check him out. The real reason I want to make this video is I'll meet a lot of people who are doing startups of their own lines, and they're the designer. And this is where you got to be careful, because if you're always on a creative side of things, you're more or less likely to look at logistics and look at things, back away from things, and not look at it as art and look at it as just a numbers context. And you know, it's something I've learned over time, because obviously I started as a designer in the industry. But when you get into brand consulting and brand development, you're looking at a lot of different things. You got to be able to shut off the creative side at times and just look at the designs as product that you have to move. You must have sales. You must have sales. It's the biggest question that I want answered before someone moves forward with putting even $20,000 into pushing a line, which is nothing. I mean, $20,000 get evaporated just like that. So you're lining up investors or your folks or your family, you're getting money from people. It's just an important point that I want to bring up, that sales is everything. Sales is everything. And so a conversation I had the other day, the guy, an art director at a very prominent company, being design director, VP of design, creative director, whatever that is for a company, it's completely different than sitting on the driver's seat of even a very small brand and running that. You're not just looking at pushing out SKUs and servicing SMUs for retail or whatever that is, like whatever context that is. It doesn't give you a whole lot of experience in the nitty-gritty pushing of a brand, especially which on a small scale and has a low budget. I mean, sometimes just your travel per diem budget is more than, what people have allocated to whole departments like marketing in a very small, especially shoestring companies. They're looking at things from too much of a design perspective skew. Now, if you're doing, this is for streetwear. So if you're doing like a couture line, that's the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to sew things together, do a fashion show, hope they catch it. It's a whole different route. But I'm just talking about for streetwear. If you're stuck on way too many things and not logically looking at the money, you're crazy. And you must have sales. So you better listen to your sales guys and take heart from these guys that have done sales in the industry, because they know what they're talking about. There's wisdom in that. You can't think like you just know everything. Anything to add? Questions? Drop them below. Thanks for watching.